Another test of the Intel Core i9-13900K processor has appeared on the network. Today, the network published the results of testing the next sample of the Core i9-13900K processor. Presumably, this is another engineering sample. The markings and spec codes were not visible, so it is not known what exactly this sample is, ES1, ES2 or QS. However, given the proximity of the launch, we can assume that this is either ES2 or QS. The processor was tested on an MSI Z690 godlike motherboard and compared to a Core i9-12900K processor. The system was equipped with colorful Gamer RGB DDR5 4800 RAM and Edge Force RTX 3090 GPU. Edge hardware used a Fentex Glacier 1360MP cooling system with an Asetek AIO cooler. In the AIDA64 benchmark, at a locked frequency of 4.9 GHz for performance cores, the Core i9-13900K is much colder than the i9-12900K with a TDP of up to 280 watts and an average temperature of 86 degrees Celsius. The Alder Lake processor requires 100 watts more power and operates at a much higher temperature than the Raptor Lake, 61 degrees Celsius. It should be noted that the Core i9-12900K sample apparently had the EVX512 feature enabled. After overclocking both samples to 5.2 GHz, the Alder Lake processor still consumed more power, but the difference is not as significant as before, about 269W versus 259W, and the temperature of the Raptor Lake chip is 10 degrees Celsius lower, 86 versus 76 degrees Celsius. In Prime 95, the Core i9-13900K with all cores running at 5.2 GHz consumed 378 watts and warmed up to 92 degrees Celsius. The sample was then tested in the most popular CPU benchmarks, CPU-Z and Cinebench. The 13th generation Intel processor was the winner in all tests. The performance corresponds to what was already published earlier. However, this sample is clearly not optimized for games. In some cases, Raptor Lake is indeed faster, but there are times when the opposite is true. Interestingly, even at 5.5 GHz, the processor runs slower than at 5.2 GHz. The launch of Raptor Lake processors is scheduled for October 20th. Intel is currently preparing an official announcement of the new series during the Innovation event later this month.